to kill me, I guess I'm doing okay. I'm lost among the millions, just an empty head filled with the sky. I separated my life between the boring and exciting parts.
Okay, it's me again. All kinds of new toys and projects and stuff. First and foremost, we are recording on a new lav mic, so I hope it's coming through. If not, I'm recording on my regular mic I've been using, and keep my hands away from the camera. I am tinkering. I am planning on putting some auxiliary tail and brake on the side cases. So I've got my pigtail wired up. I've got to tap into these wires here. So brake tail ground. I was going to get another plug and do it, but getting this plug is impossible because nobody has them unless you can find a wrecked bike. So I'll tap in here, and they're going to be removable. So if I have to pull a case off, I can reach down and unplug the lights and pull the case, and independently removable, so I don't have to worry about that. And I'll run them through the fairing and up here to have the plugs up here under the case. I'll probably zip tie them over here on the sides, the plugs on the sides, so that everything's out of the way of the mounting plate. I'm also running some lights. I got me some rock lights, and I'm only putting 2 on there. That's the white setting. I know it looks purple, but it's white. That's the purple. So there's the white, there's the green. It has a cycling mode, but I can't run with anything but the white, or at least on the roads I can't. It might give me a little more visibility at night. It's just something to make me happy. It has absolutely no function on the bike other than that. And I have a switch panel coming, a 3-switch panel that I'm going to try to put here without removing the fairing. That's going to be a challenge. I don't know that I can do it. So if I have to remove the fairing, the rivets will probably break, but I bought some U-clips to put on there so I can fix them if I have to. I don't want to remove the fairing because you got to remove this, you got to remove the lights, you got to take everything off to do anything. Oh, I managed to do all my stuff on the battery with just taking this and pulling it forward. I didn't have to remove the whole plastic. So here we have the power for my camera, which if you've been watching, I've had to unplug because it's killing the battery, straining the battery while it's plugged in. So I have to plug and unplug. So I plan on interrupting this power. And yeah, I know it's a lot of wires, but I'm going to run 2 wires up to one of the switches so I can hook this up, tuck the wires under, and then I can turn the camera on and off from here. Same thing for the rock lights. I'm going to run this up, pull this switch off, and use the wires inside to the switch and have my own independent switch. And then I have to find somehow, somewhere, I don't know how or where, the power leads, the hot leads to the blinkers. And I'm hoping that I can do that by just pulling the blinker and tapping in. And I want to not interrupt the power, but splice into the power and run a power to the switch and then to the other one. One of the guys on a Facebook group has done that. And then you flip the switch and turn on a blinker and you have emergency flashers. So 3 switches for 3 functions for my camera, my rock lights, and my emergency flashers. And if it all works, it's going to be pretty cool. And so far, everything is working. I know the wiring is a mess still because I haven't yet finalized everything. So I've got to tuck wires, and I have a bunch of wire here to run this up front with. And so eventually everything will be zip tied and tucked and hidden. The 2 wires from the rock lights are already routed and zip tied. I'm hoping the seat doesn't push on these. I'll find that out at some point. If it does, I'll reroute them and run through here I hope you can hear me over the cat. I hate that cat. I feed him, but I don't like him. And yes, I'm running everything off the hot into a switch because I want everything. I don't want it switched on the key. I want to be able to, at least on the with the camera, I want the camera to run whether the bike's on or not. I want to be able to turn the bike off and leave the camera running. The rock lights, it's not that important, but I don't know which one of these is an accessory plug, this one or this one, and I don't have the other plug to go into it. And I'm not going to pull the fuse housings to tap in underneath. I'm not going to mess with that. And when I get through tapping these, it's not going to be quite as pretty as I had planned, but it should work just fine. And I'm about to tap that, well, so to speak. Just behave yourself. I'm about to tap into those wires and run the pigtail out and hook up the lights and test to make sure there's enough juice to run all the LEDs. Should be fine, but I don't want to make sure I don't lose any of the other lights, especially the license plate light. So that's the update, and if you give me a few seconds, there'll be some more in a minute. All right, everything is working, and still working. Let me go turn the light off and turn that light off because I have too many lights on in here. So at night, see the stock tail light, and then we have bing and bing. So they're working. It's not finalized. This is just a pigtail test to make sure everything works. And it's the next day. All my stuff has come in, so now I can actually maybe finish this up. This bike has been partially disassembled for almost a week now. So I got my gang of switches, which is going to go here. And it's actually the perfect size. And I think I'm going to be able to do all of it without removing any of the fairings. We're going to find out. That being said, I also have my plugs for the taillight, for the removable taillights. This double pigtail is going to come out. I'm just going to run a single one out to here and then run these plugs, splice these plugs into it at the end out here to clean all. This will be a lot cleaner with just one of these. So I'll have to remake these blade terminals. It's not a big deal. I got the switch for the rock lights run up here, last night. So theoretically, I'm going to be able to take this apart, take the two wires, run them into the switch, and then I can just turn it on and off with the gang switch. That may not work, but this is not waterproof. It's even got a hole in. This is not water resistant or anything at all, so I don't want this out. And the switches are marine switches, so they should be fine. And then I have to try to get the blinkers off to run the power line between the two. I don't know how that's going to work. I may not be able to do that this time. And then I have to clean up all the rat's nests that I'm creating in here, but I'm not going to do that till I'm done. This is the remote for the rock lights. This is the brain or whatever for the camera. It's nice. It's in place. This is going to go here. I just don't know if I'm going to stick it down with the sticky or just leave it loose. This wire is not going to be trimmed, but it'll be tucked back up under here. This wire is going to go under here and come out here where my rear camera does. So the seat's going to fit and everything. I may have to move a couple of wires so the seat doesn't pinch them. But if I can keep them around the stock wiring harnesses like I have before, I'll be good to go. And this switch actually comes up alongside the wiring harness under here, so it won't pinch on the handlebars. I am still running two microphones. So if the sound changes, this one went out or it wasn't working. I don't know how long the batteries are going to last. I'll be turning it on and off as I go. So I will do some more work and come back in a little bit. See ya. Well, we're into some scary territory. I'm not known for my professional electronics work. As a matter of fact, this is going to be as ugly as it is, this is going to be the cleanest install I've ever done. Even with all this ugly crap back here, which looks worse than it is. I've had to separate the stock wires so I can put a male-female plug in there because the stuff I had didn't work. So maybe just setting it on fire and be done with it. We'll find out. I'll let you know. Well, that was terrifying. I don't know how well you can see that. I'll do a zoom or walk around in a minute. I had to cut the stock brake wires off the harness, put a plug in so I could run a pigtail out. The problem is, and I don't know why Kawasaki did this, coming off the harness, you have black and yellow ground, you have blue and white brake, and blue tail. Coming off of this plug to the lights, you have red tail, blue brake, and black and yellow ground. So two of them changed colors, and I don't know why they did that. Now, I could have found blue and white and blue and red and all these other colors. The lights that I put on have black ground, red brake, and green tail, so different. The plugs I bought have black, red, and blue, so different. And the wire I got, because I couldn't afford to buy 40 feet of 3 different colors at 12 or 13 bucks a roll, so I found some 4 bonded wire at Walmart, stripped one of them off. It's yellow, white, and brown. Oh my God. At the risk of offending somebody, it seems like a pride parade in here with all the color changing. Yes, I know, just calm down. It's a joke, that's all. So I have blue into brown into blue again. I mean into blue into green. Then I have blue with a white stripe into yellow, into red, and black into white into black. Oh my God, really? So either way, this was a nightmare. And this is not clean or neat, but you don't know me, but this is the cleanest, neatest electrical install I've ever done, where I had to do my own wiring. So now I have the switch for the rock lights on one of the marine switches, and it works. I'm in the process of, I've just got the holes cut to put the switch on here. The switch does fit through the holes, so that's ready. I've got to interrupt this yellow one, run a power up and back, or line up and back for the camera. Then I've got to track down the hot for the blinkers to make a flasher unit. But I'm almost there. I'm getting close. All right. I'm done for the most part. All right, let's see how ugly this actually turned out to be. Stock plug interrupted the wires of the plug, so it's tied up. I told you about the rainbow color changing. So I got everything all routed, zip tied, tucked and hidden, so my points for my seat aren't blocked by a wire. Everything's down at or below the stock wiring. So it's actually, for me, that's a really clean job. This where it looks janky, but it works really well. This is the ground. It broke, but the ground is good. It's going to be good. So this is where it gets janky. It'll be covered so nobody will see it, but it is what it is. And I had to join here to go to the plug, to join here to go into the case and out into the light on both sides. But we're going to see if I can show you the lights. So we have tail light and brake light, and we have tail light and brake light, and we have tail light and brake light. So they work well. So if I want to take the case off, I just unplug it, take the bolts off, pull the whole thing off, light and all. And so I'm very pleased with that. Then I have the rock lights, which it's on a fuse line run from the battery. It's got its own fuse line, all 100 foot of cable, because it's got enough to do like a car, a Jeep or something, a truck or something, so it's got a lot of cable. And they're mounted under here, as I've shown you. And now I have a switch on the dash for them. And they're both on. And that's white. It just really looks purple on the camera. See, looks white. So that powers off so it won't drain the battery when I'm parked. The other problem I had was the camera drained the battery while it was parked. So for a while I had the red plug here, which is power tied up here. So I just unplug and plug and unplug and plug every time I ride. And it was a pain in the neck. I could leave it plugged in while I'm out, but over 3 or 4 days it would trickle drain the battery. I think the battery's actually bad now because it'll go down after a week or so on its own. So I was doing that and it was a pain. So now I have a switch and a camera and a switch and a camera. So that worked. Those 2 things worked. Those 3 things worked. So 3 out of 4 things worked. I was not able to get the blinkers wired for emergency flashers on this switch because it looks like you got to pull the fairings and the nose cone to get to the wires. And I'm not doing that. No. So I plugged some wires in here and ran just, they're unterminated or unpowered. There's nothing, they're not to anything. So if I find something else or I figure out a way to do that, I'll put that on here. These are not the factory screw, the screws that came with it. Because, of course, dummy me drilled a hole too big, so the screws didn't work. So I had to put some in. I also glued this down with Weldwood contact cement and then screwed them in. And I do want to paint these black eventually, but they're not horrible. But the switches work as intended. The one that doesn't work is not because it didn't work. It's because I couldn't do it. So now I just got to put it back together. And when I'm done, I will do another little bit of video. All right, last little bit. All back together. Yes, you can still see the wires a little bit, but you can get to the plugs without any trouble. So that's it. There may be whistling or something. I may have to address that later. I have to put the seat back on. So it's not all back together. Either way, looks good. It's complete, at least. So that's it. Thanks for watching. And remember, if you always do what's right, you never go wrong.